Okay, so hello everyone. So I'm so excited to have my guest today. So my guest today really requires no introduction because she is a legend in our dance world, both as an amazing dancer, of course, but also now as a dance teacher. So I'm so honored to tell you that I have Barbara McColl with me today to talk a little bit about her career as a dancer and how mindset played a role in that, but also her view as a judge and as a teacher. So welcome, Barbara.
Lovely to see you, and I'm going to add my married name to that, which is Barbara McColl Stopford. So I keep under the professional name of Barbara McColl because obviously everyone knows me, but it's so great to be here with you, Christina, after all this time.
Yes.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. So of course you were like so successful in your career. So what do you think it was the kind of secret ingredient, if there was one, that made you successful in dancing?
The secret ingredient, wow, if we could put that in a little bottle and sell it, we'd all be multi-millionaires. But I actually believe that the biggest thing that a person can have, and I think I had it, was self-belief. Mm-hmm. I believed totally in myself, no matter what it was that I was doing, whether it was maths at school. I believed I could do it. Now, even if I didn't do it, if I didn't add up correctly, or if I didn't get the right answer, I believed I could. Writing a short essay in English, I believed I could. I tried. I wasn't very good at it, but I believed I could. And so when it came to dance, I started on a Saturday morning dance class, and I hadn't danced any Latin and ballroom at all in my young 8 years of age, but I believed I could. And I went in and I watched, I saw, if you like, my brain saw quick pictures of what had to be done, and I believed I could. So I think that has been probably the mindset that I had as a child. I believed I could. So no one told me I could. No one made me believe I could. I just believed I could. So I did whatever I did. So it's true belief in myself.
And where do you think that come from? Was that just something you were born with, or was it in your upbringing, or what created that?
Of course, at that time, I didn't know it was a mindset. At that time, I didn't know it was self-belief because we didn't have words. But I looking back now on the knowledge that I have, probably the security of love. I knew I was truly loved by my parents. Although at a very young age, my parents used to fight. And then that led to separation, and then that led to divorce. So I can't say it was from a stable home, but I knew I was loved by each parent, even though maybe they had their issues. My father loved me, my mother loved me. And then I went to be brought up by my grandmother during the separation. My father took us to my grandmother's home, and there was still the same strict upbringing, but the love was there because somehow you knew they were strict because they loved you. And in those days, we didn't say I love you like we do now. Today it's used more openly. We express our feelings more to our children, to our parents. But in those days, it was the way they treated you was because you just knew it was because they loved you. You were taught how to look left, look right, look left again before crossing the road. You were given tools so that you could manage if you had to be on your own crossing a road. So looking back, they gave you those because they loved you, and that was to protect you and keep you safe. And so coming from a home which I believe I was loved, truly loved, for who I was. I probably gave me that inner confidence where I didn't have to search who I am. Who am I? I knew who I was. I was Barbara.
Yeah. Yeah. And so do you think that something like that can be learned? I'm thinking, what if someone is sitting out there and think, oh, I don't have that belief in myself and I want to be successful. Do you think they can learn it? Or?
Oh, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, you might have this secure feeling when you're 4 or when you're 8. You might not get it until you're 40. But there will be a time when actually you have to lay yourself down, just look at yourself in the mirror and who am I? And it's that person that you look in the mirror that you have to get to know. Now that can be someone you can do that when you're 4, when you're 5, when you're 10. You can do it later. It also can be through the troubles in your life. Suddenly, there's only you that can fix problems that come up. I know we go to other people for help, but it's called being at peace with yourself. And that peace might not come until later in life. So therefore, I believe it is learned. And it is learned through necessity. It is learned through needs must, which is necessity. It is learned by experience. Experience can teach you who you are because you learn how you react in situations. And I think at a young age, I obviously somehow must have reacted well, even when I was most nervous. Because there was no point where anyone actually said to me, I can't even remember it ever being said to me, oh, you looked really nervous. So I obviously gave off this confidence. I remember when I first, not even my dancing career, when I first had to judge. Oh boy, I didn't feel equipped. I didn't feel skilled. I didn't think I knew enough. And I was so nervous. And I remember the moment where I was asked to judge Blackpool, the junior British, and I had a lovely lady, Vicky Barr, and she was very calm. And we just do this, and we just do this. Yes, but what if I don't know what I'm looking for? What if I can't find what if I can't make the decision? You will. And it was just that little voice saying, you will. But I was so nervous. But as I walked out on the floor, nobody thought I was nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like pushing through even though you feel those nerves, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And even in my school life, going to a new school, I was desperately nervous. But I had to go. Again, need must. I had to go to that school. There was no choice. We moved into a new area and I was desperately nervous. But I went and I got on with it and I survived. And nobody thought I was nervous. In fact, many of the people that I did make friends with took a little bit of time to make friends with me because they thought I was so confident. They were nervous to approach me. So possibly my asset has been the ability to cover the nerves just to somehow on the outside look confident when inside the heart's really pounding.
Yeah, but also it takes courage to do it even though you feel those nerves. And I think something you said is really important because you said that you had to look in the mirror and do that for yourself. And of course, I work in helping people, but in the end you're like facilitating everything, but you cannot do it for someone if they're not willing to do that for themselves.
Absolutely. I think the individual has to want to look at themselves I also think accepting the honesty of that inner voice, that subconscious voice that might say, you know, actually you're putting on a bit of weight here. You really need to do something about it. Which actually this morning I started an exercise class. But anyway, you have to be honest with yourself and not say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'm looking not so bad for my age. You know, you can look at it, the cup half full, the cup half empty. So having the ability to be honest with yourself, then that you hear that voice, you hear what the voice is saying. So you're honest with yourself. And because you respect yourself and have an inner confidence, you've got to be true to that. So that then keeps you moving forward, keeps you going through those boundaries where maybe you wouldn't have done it on a different part of your life. You just keep going through the boundaries because of the belief, listening to the inner voice, looking at that person in the mirror and being honest.
Yeah. So for me, of course, you come across as like very strong and powerful. And of course, I didn't know you when you were a dancer, but as a teacher, you were like that. So is that something you were always like that? Is that self-belief that kind of created that, or do you think it's from experience? Or?
Oh wow! I actually think it's the way I naturally am, and also I never run away. I've never run away from anything. I might have felt like running away, but I've never run away. Even when I wasn't getting on with my father when I was a teenager, and I felt like running away, I didn't. Well, this would have hurt them. I couldn't have done that. And it was just those growing through the teenage life. And so I stayed at home and I didn't run away. Eventually I did move away from home, but I wasn't running away from home. When I was given the offer by Sammy to be his partner, stop a minute, we'll just go back to the years before. Through my whole junior youth amateur career, I didn't run away from any event, and I had actually no doubt in my ability even then. I remember I was without a partner in Scotland, and there was a young man dancing with his partner in the ballroom, and I thought, yes, he's quite good. So I actually, this is going to sound terrible, I actually walked up to this young man and I said to him, you're dancing with the wrong person. And he looked at me, I can remember, and he looked at me and who are you? I said, I'm the girl that's going to take you to the top. Oh yeah, he said, yeah. Oh no, I'm deadly serious. I said, what's more, when you go back to England, because he was from England, he was from Manchester. When you go back to England, you're going to split with this girl, which I'm really sorry about for the girl, but you're going to split with this girl and I'm going to be transferred, because I used to work in life insurance at the time, and I'm going to be transferred from the Glasgow office to the Manchester office. And he's looking at me, are you for real? I can remember it. He's got his head back like this. So again, the ability to read body language and know that this guy was thinking that I was cuckoo, but he was also very interested, because it's not every day that someone walks up to you and says, I'm the one that you need to be with. So again, where did that come from? Where did the courage come from? It's because of my desire. I had to get a partner. I had to dance with that young man. He was going to be the person that was I was going to partner, and that was going to start me on my journey to success. Even when I was picking my school subjects, I remember with my parents, so now this goes back again, I was 14, 15, or that age when you pick your subjects at school. I need to have a subject where I can move around. And my father said, move around? Yes, I'm going to travel the world. Where did that come from? I'm 14 years old. Where did I'm going to travel the world come from? Oh, right. And why are you going to do that? Well, with my dancing. This is a worldwide. And then I didn't even know how much of a worldwide industry the dancing was. But I was going to travel worldwide. So I needed maths, geography, secretarial studies, so I could type. And those were the subjects that I took. But I had the confidence to say, this is what I need to do. I had the knowledge. Why did I have the knowledge? How did I know? But I believe it was because that's all I wanted to do. That was dance. I didn't know how vast it was. I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I made sure I was, if you like, gathering the tools so that I could continue with this passion that I had for dance. And that's all I was going to do. And so later on, then when I got the opportunity to dance with Sammy, wow, I never questioned my ability. That sounds very big-headed, but I actually didn't, because I didn't need to question my ability, because this man who was #1 in the world and actually my teacher, he would never have asked if there was any question of my ability. So there was no reason for doubt. And when I spoke about the subject with my father, my dad said to me, plain and simple, opportunity knocks once, maybe twice in your life, maybe 3 times. But when it knocks, grab it with both hands. And so, again, maybe my father just giving me those little words gave me security, like Vicky Barr had said, you'll be fine, you'll manage. Just a little nudge in the right direction. Maybe that's what I've always had. Maybe I've had encouragement from the right source. But I didn't actually question my ability until a wobbly point after I had been Barbara McColl, Sammy Stockford's partner for a year, done everything and gone to competitions and got great results. The second year was a little bit more wobbly because now I was more aware of how vast the industry was, how much I needed to know. And as I was going into the British Championships that second year, the first year was amazing. It was like a dream, a fairy tale. The second year, I didn't really want to come out of my bedroom because, I'm not the center of attention anymore. Oh, by the way, that's another thing. I like to be the center of attention. So that might help. I'm not the center of attention. How is it going to be? And just as the am I good, it didn't even come out, am I good enough? Am I good? Sammy knocked on my door. What are you doing? What's taking so long? I'm having a wobble. Oh, get yourself out here, get your case in the car and let's go. We're going to be late for the competition. So I had this man that nothing seems to stand in his way. So there was never any fear around us. So that was the only moment where there was a little pinprick. And I believe if you listen, that was the little, maybe you could call it the little devil, okay? If you listen to that little pinprick, the next minute it's a hole, the next minute it's a huge hole, and then suddenly you're consumed by doubt and fear. So doubt and fear are probably the most dangerous two things that we can allow. However, you have to be realistic, and they are there. So you have to be honest. There you come back to the honesty, the voice that's going to get you through any of that doubt and fear. So again, looking in the mirror. making sure, well, actually, I'm the same person as I was last year. Actually, I know I'm better than I was last year, so I shouldn't have anything to worry about. And then you just push past that boundary.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to listen to it, to accept it, but then move past it and not get stuck in that space, right? So how do you instill, or do you instill that mindset into your students if you see that someone doesn't have it? Or
well, as we had our little discussion this morning, you very delicately, beautifully, because you studied psychology, you reminded me that I had already given you lessons many years ago. And of course, what was the first question I asked you? Was I nice? And you very delicately, graciously said, well, actually, you were quite nice to me, which therefore, innuendo suggests maybe that I was really strict with your partner. And then I grabbed your tights and said, what are you wearing these for? So again, I was real. I am real when I teach. I am real as a mother. I am real as a wife. You take me whichever way I am. And I do try to remember my respect for human nature, for human being. But my job as a teacher is to train someone beyond their suggested capabilities, beyond what they think they are capable of. And look at you now. You're out in the big world, you've had your own dance school, you've lived in the Caribbean, you're now a sports psychologist. You're now instilling, helping people with their crisis or their confidence or how to manage themselves. You're doing all that. So I guess, and I'm not saying I'm responsible for that, but somehow or other, you went out and you did it. And when I'm with my students, I am never scared to be real. So if I do something that might hurt them, I am desperately hurt because I don't wish to hurt anyone. But if I'm teaching someone to run a race, I can't gently stroke their muscles and get them running the race. They have to go through that pain of the muscles. So sometimes my grandmother used to say it's cruel to be kind. But I'm developing them, and I'm never nervous if they're hurt and they cry. I end up crying too. So I'm not a person that hides their feelings. If I cry, then I cry. If I laugh, if I scream, if I shout, if I want to get mad because you're not using or putting enough effort into the articulation of your foot, then it's because I'm passionate about it. And I have had some of my students, especially my girls, cry, and their mothers have been sat there. I don't ever take a student without a parent, and they've cried because they've wanted more from themselves, and they've gone on to be absolutely successful and fabulous, and they still remember. And you made me cry, they'll say to me. Oh, I'll say, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but I wanted more from you, more from your foot. Yeah, and I find that I do the same thing now with my students, so it's almost passed down generation. So I don't want to deliberately hurt anyone, but somehow or other, I get enthusiastic. And then in turn, I pick up on their enthusiasm. So we're self-feeding, if you like. They're enthusiastic, I'm enthusiastic, and it's their brain plus my brain, and together it's a team effort. And I never like to see anyone fall by the wayside. And it doesn't, I'm not talking about, we can't have everyone win the competition, but your success might be just overcoming nerves walking onto a dance floor. Because it's easy to see when you study body language, as long as I've studied it, it's easy to see when someone's nervous. It's easy to see when someone's fear or nerves congests the ability to move, congests the emotional channels. Things change up here, things change in the physical. And so we have to balance that with pushing them beyond their boundaries, plus encouraging them. So you're pushing, then you're pulling, then you're pushing, then you're pulling. And it's really making each and every individual that I come into contact with achieve the best that they can achieve for their level, for their position, wherever it is they want to go from and to.
Yeah. And it's also teaching, I suppose that's that's even teaching like life skills. You might not create a champion, but it will help in life. And I think, speaking from someone who's had lessons with you, I think you feel that passion. And even in that situation, I think it was in my first lesson actually with you, it was very positive, because your whole point was, your legs are so lovely, why are you hiding them? But I was just a bit maybe shocked with the approach, but it was something that still now, I don't know, 10 years or whatever later, I still remember it. So
yes, very direct.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the way to get results. So I get that. So obviously you are a very famous teacher now. You teach many top couples, of course, of all ages. So when someone comes into a lesson, for example, for the first time, maybe, can you see if they have that right mindset to see what it takes, or do they sometimes surprise you? Or?
I think you can see what if someone has something special. But then I'm also the kind of person that I believe everybody has something special. Now, their goal might be to win the British Championships or the World Championships. That's what their goal is in Latin. And I might be looking at their long neck, their length of limb in their body, and say, well, it's not for me to say that you can't, but actually I could see you win the ballroom world championships more than you would the Latin, simply by their build. Also by their personality. You can see whether they are someone that maybe, because many people, we have a tendency to procrastinate. So you can see whether they're going to get the job done today, or actually, yes, they will get there, but maybe at a tortoise pace, step by step. Or, wow, this person's really on the ball, the focus is different. So it's not just the potential that someone might have. Have they got the brain to utilize the potential that they show? So yes, you can see somebody walk in and you could say, wow, you've definitely got something. It's funny because I've just recently had the son of a student of mine. Actually, he's just sent some videos through of his son. And his son is the image of the father. Used to teach the father, made them very successful. And now the son, who's a young man, 17, I think he is, 18. And very, got something special. You could see it through the camera. And hopefully we'll be able to do something with that something special. But some people walk in and there might not be anything evident that's special. But as you start to work with someone, let's say, for example, they're doing a very simple routine, okay? I'm not suggesting that a simple routine is bad or is good. But let's just say someone's doing a very simple routine and you're not really finding what their special quality is. and you might say something like, is there anything else that you can do? And then that person can go into flips and jumps and leaps and turns and splits, because actually they did acrobats when they were 5 years old, acrobatic movement plus ballet plus jazz plus this. But because they just showed you a little basic, you didn't get to see that. And then suddenly, oh, there's lots of things we can choose from here. And really, they just believed that the most important thing that you wanted to see was their basic. Mm. So it's not just about one facet. You need to get to know someone. But I do believe Sammy has we call it having a great eye. Sammy has a great eye, and he can spot the clear, outstanding diamonds a mile away. He can watch 15 heats of a competition, and he'll say, that's the one. And lo and behold, and he won't know who anybody is, that's the one. And I'll say, okay. And then later, and did you know that? Yes, I knew that person. So he just spots them. He has a very, very good eye. Mm. So you can spot talent. You can spot the which direction a person should go in, and then of course when they start to talk to you, the brain starts directing you, and that talent also.
Mm. So how can someone kind of bring out that special in themselves if they feel like maybe it's not coming across enough? What can they do to bring that out?
Well, again, in a lesson, when I conduct especially a first lesson, I actually conduct a first lesson like an interview. I'm asking good points, so strengths and weaknesses. So again, this back to the honesty of the individual. I think that the individual needs to find out what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. We did a lecture, actually. We did, I think it was about 40 lectures on the value of imperfection. And that was done in Assen, I think it was last November, at the Dutch Open Championships. And with the value of imperfection, quite a difficult subject to lecture on, because when you start talking about someone's imperfection, they take it as, oh, that's a bad thing. Well, actually, my imperfection might be my asset. Mm. So look, discovering with the person what is their good points, what is their bad points. That's why I always have a notepad. I have hundreds of notepads, and I do try and keep them in order. You know, that's so-and-so's notes, especially with this time online. I'm building up nice little folders belonging to different people. But I have my notepad, and I have two sides, and good points and bad points. And how do you feel about those? Okay, I can't spin. Okay, how do you feel about that? How does it make you feel? So I'm not just talking about the good points, bad points. I then start talking about the emotion, the connection to that good point, the connection to the bad point. How does it actually make you feel? Does it make you feel inferior? Does it make you feel bad as a human being because you can't spin? Some people say, well, actually, yes. Some people say no, because we're judged on what we show people. And even in no matter in society, we're judged by the book cover. Not everyone reads the book. So you really have to take seriously the feeling that's connected to how you believe you are with the good points and the bad points. And if you never improve those spins, would it matter? Well, actually, if you don't have any spins in your program, yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but you know, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Having had injuries, you have to take out certain movements so that we don't aggravate the injury. So if you can't spin, then you just don't do them. The secret is not showing anybody what you're not good at. You work on that with your coach, with your teacher. And then when it's good enough, and how do you make something better? You do it 1,000, 10,000, over and over again until it becomes second nature. You don't think about it. You just pick it up, the coffee, stop talking, open your mouth and drink. It becomes second nature. So even something that you're not good at can be developed.
Yeah, great point. So what do you think is like the most important lessons that you've learned in your career? I know that there must have been many, but can you think of one that you think is like the one?
Think before I talk. Think before I act, because I am an emotional person, and sometimes I can get het up about something, and even to this age, I've still got to be aware to think of my reaction. I am a very reactive teacher. I'm a reactive adjudicator. So if you're not doing it in front of me, then I can't react to it. I can't mark it. If I'm not seeing it, I'm perplexed, because now I have to find something that I can mark. You know, so maybe think before I act, or think before I speak. Being clear, understanding, I think, is a very important. I don't know if it's a lesson that I learned. Maybe it is a lesson I learned, because you have to understand what they want. If you don't understand what they want, the judges, the audience, the partner, if you don't understand what that person wants from you, then you can't give it. Therefore, you'll end up in arguments and waste time. So I was very, very quick to take the self out of it, not take it personally, because I actually wanted to be better. So if there was something I wasn't doing, I wanted to understand very clearly, okay, don't tell me what I'm not doing. Tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it. Just give me that information. What do I need to do? I'll do it. Lessons learned. Don't look back. Good or bad results. So what applies to a bad result? Move on. The same with a good result. Move on. Don't expect that good result the next time. The next competition's a clean sheet, a new event. So that's that event done, it's gone. The past is the past. We can't change it. But you can manage the future, you can manage the present, and you have a possibility to change the future. So nothing is ever the same twice. Oh wow, now the brain's flowing. Nothing's ever the same twice, so there's another lesson. So if you do something and it feels good, okay, I'm going to do it again. Oh, that doesn't feel as good. Now you're panicking because you're looking for that feeling. Maybe don't trust your feelings. Maybe just go with it, do it again, and whatever that way is, that's the new feeling. Because nothing, a river never flows the same way twice. So nothing is ever the same second time. You eat a beautiful meal, you go for seconds at the carvery or the buffet. Oh, it doesn't taste quite as good. So yeah, lots of lessons, my goodness. I suppose what I learned as a child, practice. Practice does make perfect, yes, but actually I'm not looking to be perfect. So I'm not an advocate of that sentence. Practice is necessary. Too much practice can also be a killer, because if you over practice something, you take out the spontaneity. So again, knowing when enough is enough. That's also a lesson that has to be learned by a lot of people. Today I did my however many hours of rumba walks. Well, how much do we need to practice rumba walks? Once I've got the rumba walks, that's it. Once something's good, it's good. By definition, it's not bad. Oh, but I want to make it better, I hear from many students. Yes, but maybe there's something else that needs your attention more than trying to make good better. You know, maybe you need to stretch yourself. So, wow, lots of lessons, I'm sure, I have learned along the way. And never being frightened to make a mistake. And then never being, again, it's never having fear, never being frightened to own up to the mistake. Okay, that was, I did that wrong. And that can manage the relationship in the partnership. Because actually, yeah, it was they say now, it was my bad. You know, that's the way of the world today. Oh, it was my bad. So I took responsibility. I take responsibility for my actions. So there's another life lesson. Take responsibility for your own actions.
Yeah, I think that's great advice for any dancers out there. It's great advice in life in general, obviously, as well. So I think it's very inspiring for me. I'm sure for dancers out there as well watching. But I wanted, before we finish, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this new thing, this Blackpool Online Festival of Dance that is going on, because I know that you're kind of interested in that and you're part of it.
Absolutely. Well, when this devastating pandemic came to the world, of course, as a dancer, another life lesson, you learn to adapt. And we all had to adapt very, very quickly because it's really been quite devastating. For many businesses, some people have lost their businesses, dance teachers were not able to teach, even for the arts world, singers, dancers. So we gave this Sammy, who is always an ideas man, on not just ideas for himself, but ideas for everyone. It's his responsibility to come up with something. So the idea was to do this vehicle, and of course everybody in the world loves Blackpool, and the devastation when they couldn't get to Blackpool this year. So that was, the proposals were put forward to do online competition. Now, of course, there have been many people who have done online competitions, fantastic, because it gives students, dance schools, something to work forward to, something to look forward to. But we wanted to take it a step further. And Blackpool, with their wonderful team, Mike Williams with the wonderful team and the assistance of Nick Miles, created, and Sammy with the brain, the technology, to do Blackpool online live competition. And it's gone bigger than we could have ever imagined. There are over 200 events. So there is, I think, no event that has been missed, from the professional Latin, professional ballroom, amateur ballroom Latin, youth ballroom Latin, junior ballroom Latin, juvenile ballroom Latin, solo ballroom Latin for all age categories, pro-am, and there are many more events to come. So this time, there's only over 200 events, with 65 adjudicators over a 14-day period from the 24th of August until the 6th of September. Everything will be live. You will enter through the website and go on what we call the BECC drop-down box, which is the Blackpool Education Competition Consortium, and you go in there to make your entries. There's also 35 lectures from wonderful Blackpool champions, the adjudicators, as I've said, 65, and so it is a huge, mammoth event. On Tuesday at 6 o'clock, I will be running a little bit of a tutorial with information and getting everyone excited. Anyone can drop into that. I have also Nikki Miles or someone from the technical team so that we can ask questions to them, because it's a new thing. People are panicking. They're not understanding what they've got to do. So that's at 6 o'clock on the 18th. I will also do another tutorial and explanation on Thursday, the 20th at 12 o'clock for our Chinese, Japanese, Australian, and Asian competitors. So we are hoping it's going to, well, we already know it's a huge event. Everyone should be part of it. There will be also advertising space during this time. So it's no different than the Blackpool Festival, except it's online. And everyone should be taking part, because this is something that we're using to support the industry, to bring back hope, to bring back something for people to work for, and also to keep this event, Blackpool, the British Championships, to keep it alive. Because not only has the dancer missed out on going to Blackpool, Blackpool Town have missed out on having a minimum of 7 events, which costs Blackpool Town a huge amount of money. So we're talking about loss in revenue for every, you know, not just the dancers, Blackpool Town. So taking part in this event, being part of this first time in history event, supports the 100 years that Blackpool has already, the British Championships have already been running. And it's only the second time in its history that it hasn't run. So we're really trying to use this event to show support. And it was great for the young dancer to see the older dancer taking part. So we're hoping that as many professionals, amateurs, youth will take part, so that the juniors, juveniles, and solo dancers can see them. So that's what we've been busy doing. And it's a huge, wonderful thing to be part of.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, and I'll put a link both for the tutorial and also for how maybe they can find out more about the event and how they can enter in the comments as well.
Fantastic, fantastic.
So thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure so much information in there for dancers that they can really use to take their career further.
Well, I certainly hope so, and I believe the work that you're doing with some of the couples is also helping them tremendously. I've had a few couples come back and say many good things about you. So for sure, you're doing great work. And also, having been a dancer, you also know how it feels. So you have experience. For sure, the dance industry is huge. And if you, me, any of us can help someone in their journey, then it's certainly worth doing. And it certainly just keeps it all alive. Yeah. So thank you, Christina, for your time, and for everyone listening. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, mine too.